What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Welcome to your stimulus check update, stimulus package update, and news report for Wednesday, April 7th. Now, today we have some very important topics that we need to discuss. So let's get right into it. You see what's in the title. You know what this is going to be about. First, let's address how millions of Americans are going to be receiving their $1,400 stimulus checks today. If you have yet to check your bank account through direct deposit, I'd recommend you go and do that, because today's the day that millions are supposed to receive their $1,400 checks. If you have yet to receive your check, then today could be your lucky day. If it's not today, chances are later on this week you will see a pending payment if you go to the Get My Payment portal on the irs.gov website, and it will most likely say next week, which is going to be April 14th. So if it's not April 7th, which is today, hopefully it will be next week. So just keep that in mind. Now, the IRS has stated that as of today, as of this morning, they have sent out roughly 156 million payments so far. That's actually pretty good. That's pretty good for being about a month in after President Biden has already signed this bill. Now, about 25 million payments have gone to people on Social Security benefits or beneficiaries who have had to use the non-filer tool. Now, there are a lot of issues here. Some are saying that there's still millions of payments to go out. Some people are still waiting. Veterans have yet to receive their stimulus checks. The problem that some people are saying is right now, there's about 12 million eligible Americans that do not make enough money to even file taxes and aren't required to file taxes. Well, this group of people, that about 12 million people are in it, this group, chances are they will never see a stimulus check, never see one stimulus check, simply because they do not know where to go. The IRS non-filer tool isn't there anymore. So what do? They would actually have to go and file taxes this year and possibly next year in order to receive the $1,200 and the $600 for this year, and then the $1,400 stimulus check when you go and file next year. So there's a lot of problems right now, and right now the Biden administration is saying that we need to figure this out, because 12 million people not getting, let's say, up to $3,200 in stimulus payments is going to be a huge factor, and it will be detrimental to the economic recovery. So we will see. But as of right now, we know at least some people are getting their $1,400 checks. Right now, we're hearing that the rest of the checks will most likely be sent out by the end of April. That's within the next few weeks. The IRS is hoping all stimulus checks, even to veterans, will be sent out and will be issued through paper checks and prepaid debit cards by the end of April. So there's no guarantees there, but that is currently what we're hearing. Now, even though many people are grateful for these $1,400 stimulus checks, a lot of you have already said in the comments, and this is something that's not just here on YouTube, this is something that I've been seeing on Twitter. This is something I've been seeing on Facebook, that a lot of people have already spent their $1,400 checks. And yet there's no more checks in line. There's nothing coming as of yet. But this is one of the reasons why lawmakers at this time are looking into additional stimulus checks. Yes, a fourth stimulus check. I've been saying this for a few weeks, and I will continue to talk about it because this is something that's starting to gain more traction. Just the other day, more Democrats signed on to support an additional direct payment. Now, they don't specify whether this is going to be for a stimulus check, like a $1,200, $600, or $1,400 check, possibly even $2,000. They don't say that. They say direct payments, which could also allude to possibly an extension of unemployment benefits, the extension of the child tax credits to make it more permanent. But there's other things as well. But right now, what lawmakers are saying is that without an additional stimulus check, many families will not be able to pay for food, rent, utilities, and other essentials. But I'm going to get to that in just a minute, because that is very important. Progressives are pushing for additional payments. The writing is on the wall to possibly see additional payments, because we are dealing with the housing crisis now, or coming up, that this is going to revolve around the lack of stimulus, or the lack thereof. So what I want you to understand before we get into this, okay, is that Democrats are looking to include just about anything and everything to try to figure out a way to provide for the American people. Now, Republicans want to provide for the American people as well, but they want to provide in a different way. Instead of just throwing out money and hoping it solves the problem, they are trying to look and pinpoint the specifics of the problem. The issue with doing that is it takes far too long and it doesn't address the current issue, which is people don't have any money. So Democrats are facing that. Republicans are looking into something else, and that's kind of where they're clashing. That's kind of where they're butting heads. But we will see what happens, because as of right now, there's a lot of different options. There's a lot of different possibilities as to what we could potentially see, but only time will tell what lawmakers actually propose and put in this next bill for the American people. But here's what we know. And let's touch on the Biden and what the Biden administration is currently planning to help for many people. You saw in the title, there's a $9,000 benefit, okay? A stimulus refund. And what is it? Well, it actually is something that the Washington Post just brought up this morning. It's something that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, multiple others have been fighting for this as well. But as of next week, the Biden administration is planning to launch a $9,000 per person funeral fund. Now you're probably wondering, why is this important? This is only important to those that end up losing a loved one. Well, it's important to them as well. We're very important to them, but it's also important to every single person here in the United States. I want to explain why. Okay? Right now, this $9,000 per person funeral fund, this will be going to anybody that passed away due to COVID. Now, first, there's going to be a lot of scams. There's going to be a lot of fraud. And this is something that FEMA is already discussing and already talking about. And because there's a lot of questions surrounding this topic, who's it for, who can qualify, how much would I get, what do I need? Well, it's going to be very, very difficult to do this, to give you all these answers. But what we know is that next week, I believe on April 12th, FEMA's hotline is going to open, where you can then call, and that's next Monday, where you can then call FEMA and get your questions answered. All you got to do is call 1-844-684-6333. I'll say that number one more time, but you can also go to Google, type in FEMA, I think it's FEMA funeral costs or FEMA funeral fund, and you should get this number. It's 1-844-684-6333. That is the number you can call. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Many families have struggled to continue, or have struggled and continue to support themselves, and really are struggling through this pandemic. Well, the Biden administration has seen that, and that is one of the reasons why they're putting a cost in place, or this fund in place, to provide for people that have already spent money on a funeral or are making payments. Because right now, things are only getting worse. Things are getting worse. People are still trying to find their jobs. They're still getting unemployment benefits. Their $1,400 stimulus check may or may not still be there. Maybe they ran out, right? So this $9,000 per person is going to go far, because this is going to help many people that are struggling to pay for a funeral, that are trying to provide for loved ones. What we are hearing is that originally FEMA was going to do $7,000 with a cap of $2 billion. Well, the Biden administration realized what was going on, and they thought, no, this is too small. This is way too small. This would not provide enough. This actually has to go up to $9,000, and there should be no cap. So that's kind of what's going to happen now. So here's what we know. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer as of now has secured another win for Democrats, and he's secured another budget reconciliation, which is going to be a huge win. What I can tell you right now is, being that a lot of people are, let's say they spent $9,000 on a funeral, and they have to pay, let's say, $400 a month to the funeral home for their services. Okay, $400 per month. That's a lot of money for somebody that, let's say they're only making $1,500, maybe let's say they're making $2,000 per month, and that is with unemployment benefits and the $300 per week in that unemployment boost. If they're only making $2,000 and they have to spend $400 of that every single month, okay, 20%. If they have to spend that every single month, that's creating a huge burden on these families. So this is one of the reasons why this relief is considered a very good thing. It's going to provide stimulus. Even though it's more of a stimulus refund, it's going to provide some type of stimulus to that family to help them, their community, which would help their, more of a, county, a state, and then eventually it would trickle over into the more federal level. But that's kind of what we're hearing. So, being that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has this win, this additional budget reconciliation for the $2.25 trillion stimulus or infrastructure bill, which some are saying that we need to see stimulus within it. But this is a huge win. But because of this kind of this new information that's been unfolded and this loophole that's been uncovered, what we're hearing now is that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, he wants to see everything in this next bill. And he wants to see this in this next bill because he does not know if there will be another opportunity. He says this opportunity comes maybe twice in a decade. Those are his exact words. So here's what you should expect to see. Now, I'm not saying you will see all this. I'm not saying you will see, everything. You might see none of it. But here's what we should expect. This is according to multiple reports. And this is also according to Senator Schumer himself. We should see $100 billion go to a clean cars initiative. This could potentially be a cash for clunkers 2.0 type provision. We're going to see more proposals for EV credits. We're going to see things for more charging stations. Obviously, the infrastructure there has already kind of been, the framework has already been laid out. But we're going to see this stuff. We're also going to see measures designed to slow China's influence and power over the United States. This is going to be where we're going to bring more manufacturing jobs back to the United States and give people or businesses more credits to stay here as opposed to going abroad. We're going to see more of that. Chances are we're going to see student loan forgiveness of up to $50,000 per borrower. This is something that President Biden has already started to implement. He's already been discussing with the Education Secretary how feasible this is and if he has the legal right to waive $50,000 per borrower. He's looking into that. And, according to Senator Schumer, that this now opens the door. Having an additional budget reconciliation opens the door to an additional direct payment to the hardest hit individuals. So this will be big. As to how big and what exactly we'll see, well, that we don't know. We will have to figure that out as we get a little bit closer. But over the last few days, we've been getting many more reports. Okay, more and more reports every single day keep coming out on how bad things are actually getting. It's not just about getting jobs back. Jobs coming back are great. The economy starting to recover is great. But the problem is there's an underlying issue here that a lot of people aren't seeing because it's not being reported amongst mainstream media. And as to why, honestly, I don't know. But here's the issue. We are seeing a major housing crisis, and this could be coming because we are not seeing additional support from within the government. So we need to see additional support. What we know is that without an increase in wages, okay, and this is a big thing, without an increase in wages, people will not be able to afford their homes, their apartments, okay, their condos, their mansions, wherever they live, they will not be able to afford that. Currently, the unemployment benefits, the 74 weeks plus the $300 per week in per week as an unemployment boost, that will all be expiring on September 6th. Some housing experts say that the month of September will be a critical month. If we don't see an additional package, we don't see additional stimulus, we don't see additional relief for rent and mortgage assistance or forbearance, there's going to be a huge housing crisis on our hands, which is already starting to unfold. What we know is that without additional rental and mortgage relief, many will be evicted, foreclosed on, and will be sent packing with little resources and probably no place to go. But this is why lawmakers are currently discussing the fact that we need to get more relief to the American people as to how much and as to in what capacity. Will it be a stimulus check, unemployment benefits, tax credits? We know the child tax credit is still there, but will we see these payments? We don't know. There's a lot of questions. But here's something that we cannot question. These are actual facts. Income has gone up by 0.5% over the last 17 years. Okay? That's what wages have gone up. 0.5%. Less than 1%. But when you look at rent has gone up 13% over the exact same time period. So income goes up 0.5%, rent goes up 13%. Do you see the difference? Do you see the issue here? This is becoming a major issue, and this is a huge problem. The cost of living for many is too much. So many people cannot afford to live in an apartment by themselves. They have to get roommates. Well, during a pandemic, do you want roommates? No, you do not want roommates. You want to be by yourself. You want to be somewhat isolated. You do not want to, spread this virus. That's becoming a big issue, and this is something that the United States has seen. It was easily seen because we had some of the highest numbers by far. Experts say that you should not be paying more than 25% of your take-home pay on housing. This means somebody that is paying $1,000 a month for rent should not be making anything less than $4,000 per month. It's about $1,000 per week. Let me know down in the comment section below. How much is your rent, and how much do you make? You don't even have to answer in a monetary form. You don't have to answer by saying how much you make. You can say in a percentage. What is the percentage? Do you even know? Most people don't know. Most people do not know how much their rent or mortgage payment is compared to how much they make. But let me know down in the comment section below. What is it? Is it too high? Is it more than 25%? Because I guarantee a lot of people are going to answer and have more than 25% of their rent or mortgage going, or of their monthly take-home pay is going to go to their rent and mortgage. And that's too much. Here's the difficult part. The difficult part right now is that many people are still paying for their homes, their rent payments, through unemployment benefits and this $300 per week boost. Well, what happens once this is up? The crisis is only going to get worse, and this is where many experts are saying that September will be a critical month. It will be crucial to many people, and a lot of people will lose their homes. A lot of people will lose their apartments. Many people will be evicted, and a lot will be foreclosed on. But to make the affordable housing crisis worse, there's actually a provision, a piece of legislation that President Biden is wanting to put in front of us, to give us, which would essentially help out millions of people get into a home. Well, here's what we know. President Biden still wants to include a $15,000 per borrower first-time home buyer credit. Okay, $15,000. Well, this is really good, right? He's going to give you $15,000 for you to go and buy a home. Well, this is going to be great. This means you can go and get a home. And this money can be used, this credit can be used towards the down payment of your loan, okay, or of the home. And so this sounds like it's a great idea. This is going to work, right? Here's the problem. The problem right now is that supply in housing is so low that if you give first-time homebuyers a $15,000 first-time homebuyer tax credit, what's going to happen is the demand for homes is actually going to increase, but the supply is not going to change. So what does that mean? When the supply is stuck at a certain level and the demand is up, okay, supply and demand factor, okay, when you kind of determine this, here's what we know, is if the supply doesn't change but the demand goes up, the supply, the amount that people will sell a house for actually goes up as well. Okay, so that $15,000 might just be completely gone because someone increased their price by $15,000, $20,000, $50,000 on a home, which really you probably can't afford anyway. Now, I'm not saying it's you, but some people are not going to be able to afford a home and then getting a tax credit to pay for that home. And then let's say in a year when they realize, oh, I can't afford that home, it's too expensive. Then they're upside down on their loan. And that's going to create an additional foreclosure crisis. And so the whole thing is really messed up right now. And everything is coming down to, will we see additional stimulus? Will we see additional relief for housing and mortgages? Okay, for rent? Will we see additional things for unemployment benefits? Will we be able to get out of this pandemic quick enough? And right now, some are saying no. Some experts say that it will be too little and far too long for the Biden administration to put together his affordable housing infrastructure plan to be able to actually impact the American people. And so what they're saying right now is a housing crisis is coming. We should all be prepared for it. But as to when, this all depends on the amount of stimulus that the lawmakers can agree on. What I can tell you right now, lawmakers are not agreeing on much. They are not agreeing on much. And every report that I read, every interview that I watch, okay, every podcast that I've listened to, the message is pretty much the same. Okay, they say it a little differently, but the message is pretty much the same. More stimulus to the American people is needed. We need this not only for an economic recovery, but to sustain what we have currently built back. That's what they're saying. We need additional stimulus. So we will see. But as always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back and share more. There's a lot going on right now. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of weeds you got to kind of, get through to see the flowers at the end, okay? To see the good view, to see the optimistic end. It's going to be a while. But I promise I'll be here and I'll update you every step of the way. Just want to thank you guys for watching. You guys are awesome. Go ahead, smash that thumbs up button if you would. It just helps out the video. Again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on. And I'll see you guys on the next one.